And I think it's made our generation like bad at conversation.
Do you know what it is? When it comes to the topic of sex, I have to remember that there's just another person involved.
And it made me think of this conversation that Christian girls typically have, that like Christian guys don't have game.
Yeah. And I don't like to have regrets, but if I could not have done those things, I would have, because I just think it would have meant going into marriage. It just would have made it nicer.
Hello and welcome to the Two My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Adella Afadi.
Welcome. We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters around the world. Renee is not here today, but I have an amazing co-host, my friend, YouTuber, social commentator, host of many a TMS live show and other events.
Yeah.
Adella Afadi.
Hello.
Hi, friend. How are you, friend?
I'm so happy to be here. When Courtney called me, I said, Courtney, I've been waiting for this call.
And it was literally just yesterday.
I know.
Oh,
I said, yeah, I'm coming.
Nah, thank you so much for being here. And you come highly requested. I don't think the girls are no stranger.
I think we have an overlap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our people are the same people. Yeah.
Our people are the same people, thinking people,
yes,
curious people,
exactly,
deep people.
Exactly.
And so welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, like we have mentioned your name so many times in past episodes. We'll be like, oh yeah, Adella. I was watching a video from Adella. I'm sure people are like, when are you guys gonna do us? You know in Disney when they used to do those crossover episodes.
Yeah.
And so here you are.
Here I am.
People.
I feel like you should add when the celebrity, but the celebrity guest walks in and everyone starts clapping and they can't say their lines because you're like.
But yeah, it's people have seen you at our live shows as well. You are off. We call on you every year. Yeah, you already know the deal. We call on you every year to be a host of our live show because you're so good at hosting. You're so good at facilitating like just the atmosphere and the space.
Thank you so much.
But above all, you are the host of amazing conversations on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
And I wanted us to delve into an amazing conversation we'd be having in every episode, which is patriarchy and the male gaze.
Oh my God. I literally just filmed a video where I literally mentioned the male gaze. I was like, are you going to be sick of me? Yeah.
No, because I think you give such amazing takes on it, but also just generally like we're living in the age of the internet and the male gaze has changed. It's evolved as well as women have evolved in the modern world. And so before we actually jump into the juice of the conversation, the people don't have questions for Adella.
I did see that story. Oh my gosh, do they really?
Yeah, one of them says she's a star.
You know, words of affirmation is my love language. So I'm acting humble, but really I'm like, go on, continue. What else?
Well, okay. Let us start with this question.
Okay.
How has your view of marriage changed after being married for 5 years now?
Oh, what a good question. Okay. Oh, do you know what's funny? I laugh about this often, but I don't know if I had a view before. And I say this to people all the time, but I definitely just accidentally rolled into marriage. Like I knew it was something that I wanted, but it was never like, it wasn't, I think because I was young as well, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to get married. And so I met my now husband, and it was just, from the moment I met him, it was like I could marry him just based on the information I have now. But, we'll see what happens, as you do when you're dating. And then honestly, it was just green flag after green flag. And then one day I was married. And I thought, Adella, you didn't even stop to be like, hey, are you ready to get married? Honestly, there were just no red flags. He asked me to marry him. I said, yeah, we got married. And it's just like, oh, hi. I woke up one day and this man was in my house. And I was like, unsupervised with this man. It was crazy. And I think I'm really blessed because, he's a great, he's a great man.
That's the guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a view of marriage. And I think I was just kind of open and learning as time went on. So now after almost 6 actually, almost 6 years, crazy. I just know that it's hard. I know everyone says this, but also it's not hard like you're suffering the whole time. It's just hard like anything is hard. Anything worth having, anything good, anything whatever.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. And I think people call it out as being hard because it's literally 2 adults who've lived their whole like upbringing. Most of the stuff that we are about and just everything about us is formed pretty much in our childhood, which I've learned from therapy. And now two of you are coming together and trying to like merge. And I think that's what makes it hard. We kind of, what I assumed my upbringing was just normal, like regular. Every we not all exactly, especially marrying within my race, marrying another African. I just thought, oh yeah, we, you know, this is how we do life. And then you soon realize absolutely not. You know, he's raised completely different to me. His family are completely different to me. And so we're very different. And I do think most people end up with like the whole opposites attracting. And so that's great because my strengths, his weaknesses and vice versa. But it comes with challenges. And I think the one thing that has to be there for it to just work is like a teachable spirit. Like I think if any one of you are stubborn and unshakable and unwilling to move, I just don't know how you go from there, because I think a challenge arises, and if both of you are open, and it comes with friction, I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But you know, once you get past that, I think if you're just both open to learning, then all right. And it's fun at the same time. It's fun. It's nice. Yeah, adults.
Yeah,
house unsupervised,
and it's getting to do adult things.
Getting to do stuff. I didn't mean that, but yeah,
my mind is anyway. God is working on me. So the thing is, it's so true. Like Keith, having met him and known him for a minute, he's so unproblematic.
Oh my God!
And it's so nice to hear an unproblematic.
A bit too unproblematic. Imagine living with that and thinking, am I a good person?
He's a very good person. And this book that I constantly talk about, Zeal Without Burnout by Christopher Ashe, was actually a recommendation from him.
Yes.
And it completely changed my life. It was when your marketing company, Afadi, was actually helping me with my marketing for my hair company, CDB London, which ended up making me a whole bunch of money. Which is why I always shout that out when I'm with you, because I'm like, do business in community, man, because they know what they were doing. Like, that you guys knew what you were doing, and it just took me to a new level. But anyway, I got to have a lot of meetings with Keith just to talk about business and work and marketing. And he recommended that to me. And I just thought, this is someone who's done the work. Like, this is someone who's just thought through life and like is committed to just truly being Christ-like, but also just doing that deep work. But then is quite cool at the same time. Like, you go dress so cool, you do cool stuff. I'm like, y'all are so cool. Thank you. Okay. But what's so funny is, as I asked you that question, I realized all of the questions that were asked were actually on men.
Oh, really?
Marriage, yeah. And I find that so...
Am I an expert?
Teach us. I find it interesting because I don't think... That's not the first thing I think of when I think of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very strange. But anyway, to the next...
That's what the girls want to know. That's one thing. I mean, I'll try to help.
Maybe it's because me and Renee aren't married.
No,
so when a married person comes, they're like, let's ask all the marriage questions.
Yeah. I hear that.
We talk about everything else. They said, ask her about celibacy before marriage. And I would...
I don't know why I laughed.
I don't... I wanted to preface this by saying, the first time we actually ever met in person... Obviously, I used to follow you when you were Cornflakes No Sugar. Did you guys know her? But she was, thank you.
The OG.
OG. And when your YouTube channel was called Cornflakes No Sugar. And then we ended up meeting in person for the first time at an event you invited me to be a speaker at, which was on pornography.
Yeah.
Was it on?
Well, it was about sex.
It was about sex.
Generally, but we probably did touch on that. Yeah.
We that side of things. And at the time you were married, or you just...
No, I was about to. That's why I was like, wait.
Let
me talk about this now quickly before.
Yeah, you actually said that.
Before it's all over.
Talk about this before I get married.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, tell us about the celibacy before marriage, Chet. Girl, you know, keep it real around here.
Sorry?
You know you can keep it real.
Yeah. I'm an open book. Do you know what it is? When it comes to the topic of sex, I have to remember that there's just another person involved.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm open. I'll tell you everything, but I have to be mindful.
Yeah.
Celibacy. So my journey with it was interesting, and I'm still kind of unpacking. I'm having new revelations, even having been married for so long. I think I've always had an interesting, not necessarily positive, depends on your viewpoint, if it's positive or not, relationship when it comes to sex. I just remember being interested in it from very young, too young, and being, I want to say exposed to it, but I couldn't tell you how.
Right.
And I'm almost too scared to, I don't want to
unpack that.
dig into that just in case something is unlocked. Hopefully not. But I just remember being like, just being aware of it from quite young and being very interested in it and being like, yeah, oh my gosh, can't wait till I'm older, get a boyfriend, and I'll have sex. That was just my viewpoint. Even though I grew up in like a Christian household, it was never really, celibacy wasn't like pressed upon me. And then around, I want to say 14, I made my own decision to like follow Christ, and that became a thing. I took it more seriously. And I remember one day, but the sex thing still didn't really cross my mind. But then one day, I don't know what made me ask, but I had like new friends from a new church. And I said, oh, you guys going to wait till marriage? And the way they responded, they were like, yeah, obviously. Like, it was so blasé. They're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. me too.
Yeah.
And they just said it so matter of fact, like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And honestly, that was it. I was just like, okay, me too, cool. But I hadn't researched, I hadn't looked into it myself. Me being like, just honestly, just ignorant to scripture, just whatever, I thought it meant no sexual intercourse, but there are other things. And I said, when the time comes, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I did. And then it was around, I think I was around 18, and it was actually my boyfriend at the time who said, we shouldn't, this is all one. And that's when the conviction came in, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, now I know. It didn't always stop me from dabbling, but the conviction was there. And then, those relationships ended or whatever. And it was kind of always a bit of a struggle, a bit of a battle. And then I met my now husband, and he was, thankfully, it was nice I think that was on my list. I said, I want someone who does not want to sleep with me. Like, I don't want you to be doing it for me, and then when I fall, you fall. And so then we were together for, I want to say 3 years maybe before we got married, and the temptations were there, and we were like getting close to the line at times, but we didn't have sex until we got married.
Love that.
And then that was it. And I think it's really important if you are on a celibacy thing, I say it's enough if it's faith. It is enough to just not do it because you believe God is telling you not to do it. That is more than enough, because I trust that he knows more than me. But for me personally, it was good to know why and to understand and to agree with why.
That's big.
And when having come out of past relationships where I had been too intimate with them, I realized why. And I said, for me personally, this attachment is too much. Like, those exits would have been a much cleaner and much nicer on my heart had I not been intimate with them. And it's just I don't know, it's done a lot of stuff in my head, and I don't like to have regrets, but if I could not have done those things, I would have, because I just think it would have meant going into marriage, it would have made it a lot more, it just would have made it nicer, I think, for me, because it's like baggage. But at the same time, I believe that God is, he can do all things, and redemption is there, and so I don't believe it makes you tainted or damaged or whatever, anything like that. So it's not the end of the world. It's like,
I love that. Well, the next question, which I hope will help us segue into our conversation, is how to curate. Is the English gonna come today?
Curate.
How to curate your personal style for you and not the male gaze.
Oh, hi! Someone watched that video, haven't they? So, I talked about this recently, in that it's so interesting, the male gaze, because you think, oh, married women, male gaze doesn't apply.
Yeah.
But actually, even though for me, I understand now the male gaze isn't like, hey, I want that man over there to look at me. It's more just this world that we live in that is just centered around the male gaze, and women have to be beautiful, and you have to be sexy, you have to be feminine, and all these things. And so I've always been into fashion, and I like it. I like to look cute. And as time has gone on, I've started developing like style themes that really just speak to me. But I'd find myself, despite this look I'm going for, it's like eccentric and it's baggy and it's this, I'd be like, oh, but Adella, you need to show some skin, or this bit needs to be tight so they know that you got a waist, and all these kind of things. And had to be like, oh, what is that? And it's like, oh, it's the male gaze. Interesting. And so now curating my style without the male gaze, it's just literally overriding those thoughts. So it's like, if this outfit is like baggy jean jacket, baggy jeans, That's it. Just leave it there. Like, it doesn't have to be. If the outfit isn't about my legs, cool. But I just have to override that feeling of like, oh, but I look frumpy because this is baggy, or it's a bit too out there. I'm gonna look weird or whatever. And it's like, so this is what the outfit is about, and that's what I'm gonna keep that. Yeah. So I think it's just a proactive, because I think we operate in our subconscious a lot, and we kind of just move in, the thoughts are happening in the back of your head, but you're not really assessing them, questioning them. Yeah. And so I think same as other areas, I try to think, why are you making that decision? Same with my style. And so whilst to some it might not be like a big deal, it's just clothes. Yeah. I think to represent something a bit deeper, where it's like, I'm trying to move into this space where I'm myself, and I'm not thinking about external factors and external validation, because I've said this a lot, but I am a recovering people pleaser. And so I think this is a version of that where I'm like, I'm not dressing for anyone else but myself. So yeah. And also you're just cooler when you don't dress for the male gaze. I'm so sorry, but the male gaze is not cute. Okay, it's just basic. So I think there's also that motivation. Yeah.
I love it, and it's been so nice seeing your style evolve as well over time. I remember at a YouTube event, you walked in, you look banging, Mum Cena. You look banging, but you're wearing like a pink hat. Yeah. And you're like, I'm trying something new, professional stuff.
Say that. Yeah, that was the whole thing. I put the hat on and I was like, is it too much? Is it too much? And you know what? Because I'm tall as well, it's like, sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh,
you need to shrink.
So visible. But I'm trying to lean into it. So.
How has the male gaze, or like desirability, and even I guess before you got with Keith, or even whilst you've been like subconsciously even in marriage, like how has it shaped your behavior? I'd be in my Oprah bag on this podcast. So
gosh, these questions are great. I think, again, this whole like space of people pleasing, and even wider than that, just like caring about others' opinions or how you're perceived. The male gaze, I think, somewhat fits into that. Now pairing like my weird relationship with sex that I had, and this, do you know what I realized recently? That I had a way that men desired me before my husband, and I think that was embedded in me as the way that you are desired and loved. And Keith is not that way, because there's no like he takes his title so seriously, right? Whatever he does, Christian, marketer, creative, husband, he takes it so seriously. So like, he loves me the right way, basically. He loves me the right way. But because of my, I don't know what you'd call it, sin nature, my past, my trauma, my scars, I was like, hold on, do you fancy me? Do you love me? Do you know what I mean? And I recently realized it's because prior to him, I was used to being desired in a very specific way. And I had to tell myself, actually, God told me, those boys didn't love you.
Adella, you are touching on something very deep.
Oh my God, yes. He was like, those boys did not love you. Like, Adella, just because they fancied you and they wanted your body and they were like lusting over you and you were loving it. I can't lie. I was like, yeah. You think I'm like, I was just where you think I'm sexy, thanks. And so like, if I'm being honest, like I'd have conversations with my husband, like, are you even attracted to me? And it's like, and because he's a logical man, he's like, you think I'm married you?
And I don't think you're paying.
And I don't think you're mine. And he loves me so well, but like, I was just so conditioned to just think of it in a different way. And that's a very new revelation. So I had to really apologize and repent about that. But what's the question? Oh, desirability. Yeah. I think I've had to unlearn some things, basically. And I think, do you know what's so funny? I remember when everyone was getting on to Aisha Curry, because you remember what she said? She said about, not getting male attention and it makes her feel whatever. And I remember thinking, girl, why'd you say that? Like, first of all, I would never say that. But then I was like, people are being so harsh, because I get it. I get what she's saying. She's not saying she actually wants another man. She's not saying that. I think what she's saying is, maybe he's you know, he's a baller.
Basketball.
He's gonna get the typical type of sexual attention from groupies, from girls, whatever. And because she isn't, maybe, I don't know, I was about to start singing BBL, just BBL, you know, because maybe she doesn't get the kind of attention that certain girls get, she feels away. And I'm like, do you know what? That's normal, because we can't pretend we're robots, and we don't, you know, we live in a vacuum. There's a natural desire in us, I think, for community, for acceptance and things like that. And sometimes, unfortunately, because of the way the world is, and I blame the media.
Come on.
We, especially as women, conflate that with this certain type of desire. And again, that then feeds into how we dress, how we show up, the things that we do for people. And it's like, yeah, we need to basically unlearn all of that.
I love that. And I really appreciate the honesty, because I think it points to something so insidious about media, male gaze, like the mix of it all, like as you're navigating womanhood. And it made me think of this conversation that Christian girls typically have, that like Christian guys don't have game. Okay. And I know it's much bigger than what I'm about to say, but oftentimes it's hitting on like that, somebody who likes you in a somewhat lustful way. Yeah. Like you want that kind of, oh, he thinks I'll say it. You go, I mean, versus he's actually attracted to me, but the attraction is healthy.
Exactly.
He still maintains
and he's
the
not leading with that because he respects you. And
exactly. And I think it's because subconsciously we have been taught through media and all these socializations that like your desire should be to be desired. Yeah. Your desire is to be desired, and desirability is the sexiness, the him wanting you in that, you know,
it's the way he can't control himself. And it's oh my gosh, I'm making him lose control. And it's like, why is that? This is not what we should be. It's not problematic. Yeah, because then if he was a guy like that, I'd be like, do you not have any self control and those sorts of things? So.
Facts. Yeah, and I just think it's interesting because it teaches us that there's so much we have to You know, we're actually filming. I was instructed to do this by your producers. These might think they're creatives. Hello, friend. How was your driving lesson?
Hi. How are you?
I was like, what kind of creative direction is this?
I was like, my good son.
It's like, I'm in the flow of a conversation.
On. Bit bad when I touch it.
I'm it's fine. And I'm just always on edge anyway. Yeah, it has. It has been actually talking about desirability and like how a lot of us have this internalized message that because we should be desired, it should kind of make us look past red flags or behavior that we actually wouldn't condone. But because we want to feel like we're wanted, it's like we could unlearn all of that, you know?
Yep.
And, you know, I'm just going to make it my cameo.
Hope you guys enjoy the rest.
Thank you, friend. But then I think it brings us to this conversation about like what you've been saying throughout your content and like divesting, right? But before we talk about divesting, how do you strike the balance? Because Aisha Curry is a perfect example of this, of people being like, you're a pick me because you desire to be desired, right? How do you balance, but guys, we actually want to get married. We actually want a man. We actually want a relationship. We want to be loved, right? With also that divesting from the male gaze, when also you want a male to gaze at you.
Yeah. That's real. How do you strike a balance? Do you know what? I think I've learned some things about pick-me-ism. Pick-me-ism.
Yeah.
That I didn't know before. And I think for me, it's made that distinction. Who was talking about it? It might have been the receipts, you know? And basically someone explained the harmful pick-me-ness is the one where you're willing to trample on other women or you're willing to like victim blame or, you know, ask what was she wearing or, you're willing to pander to sort of the toxic side of men and society for the sake of being picked. I think that's when it's a problem. But if it's simply, you know, trying to get your type's attention, feel free. Obviously within reason, because I think there is should I reference this? I once did a video about the late Kevin Samuels. All right.
We talk about him.
Yeah. But I was thinking, anyways, the video's gone now, so you got
the video. Oh, okay. We're another conversation for another point.
But basically, in my true nature, I try, even if I disagree, I'm like, let me see if I could try and see where you're coming from. And one of the things I said was that this whole thing that he does about like, oh, you want a man who's over 100K? Well, are you this? Are you that? Are you that? Like, you want the 1%? Are you in the 1%? I understood his root intention, because the question is, yes, you might want something, but like, what are you doing to acquire that thing? It's not in like, time will show you that, you know, you will not get desired results. So what are you going to do? Either you change your type or you become your type's type, I guess. And I think if you are doing things to be picked that don't sit outside your moral values, your, you know, just your moral compass, and just, you're not basically doing bad things to get what you want, I think it's okay. I think if I usually go to the shop looking raggedy. I don't know what word I'm looking for. Raggedy. And then I'm like, I keep bumping into these nice guys and I'm looking raggedy. Then maybe I'm gonna start going to the shop looking a bit nicer, you know. If I need to frequent certain venues or put myself out there a bit more, then I'm gonna do that. If I have to, you know, put my best foot forward to try and, you know, make this person see me in all my glory, then I'm going to do that. And I don't think it's necessarily being a pick-me. I think my understanding now is that maybe being a pick-me is doing absolutely too much, especially at the expense of other women, to try and get this guy's attention.
I like that. I actually do like that balance, because it is true. Like, you want to be picked. Like, I think it's unfair to put on women this like, oh, you shouldn't want to be picked because the male gaze is so insidious.
And they do it too, right? Oh, as in, if they want you to pick them, they're going to put their best foot forward. They're going to, you know, get the money up or whatever the men do. I don't know what they do.
But in both examples, there are ways that it leans into a toxic side or a dangerous side, or dimension of it. So when it does get to that place of like, okay, girl, now you're just pandering, or now you're doing really dangerous stuff, in order to position yourself as like the outlier, right? As the, I'm not like the others. All of them are so like, standards.
I drink beer and eat pizza. I don't know what the girls do.
Yeah. How do you go about like challenging your mindset on that though? Like, especially as a recovering people pleaser, or somebody who may have like really cared about other people's validation and people's affirmation. How do you go about divesting and kind of taking that step back and being like, I don't need everyone to like.
Do you know what? For me, therapy helped, because it kind of, we do things but we don't always know why, and I think therapy helps you sort of unpack the reasons why, whatever traumas is hidden down there that's making you act this way. And I think sometimes it's nice to look back and reflect, because sometimes when I look back and reflect, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, ew, why did you behave that way? Like, why did you let that guy do that? Or why didn't you speak up in this situation? And I think as well, I literally was talking about this in the video I was filming earlier. It's embarrassing. It's like, I'm 30 now. Do you know what I mean? How is it that I can't live my life in a way that like I'm doing things I don't agree with to appease somebody else, man, anyone? And so I think sometimes some shame is good. So if that is something that you've done or you do, I think it is good to take stock, to reflect and be like, is this not like, is this, am I happy with this behavior? Am I proud of this behavior? And I think a lot of us know when something doesn't sit right with us, when we're doing something that we really don't feel like we should be doing for the sake of somebody else. And I think it's always good to question those feelings. I'm like, I feel a bit icky about this. Why? I think we know. I think we have wisdom, but I think if you don't know your innermost thoughts and why and things you do, why you do stuff, therapy, or even just talking to friends and be like, listen, be real with me. Like that relationship, how was I acting crazy? Was I acting wild? Like, give me real feedback. I think a lot of people don't just go out dishing like, what's the word, correction and that kind of things with friends. But if you invite them and be like, honestly, do you think I behaved appropriately in this situation? hopefully they can give you the real, and then you can just assess from there.
You can just assess from there. Do you feel like you've gotten better with your people pleasing? Like,
I think I have.
I think you have to.
I think I have. Do you know what it is? I wasn't, past tense, like a typical people pleaser, like where you're really me. Can you
Yeah.
I don't like, sometimes someone will bump into me in the streets. I'm like, you bumped into me. Like, this is not me.
Not for myself.
So I wasn't the typical. That's why it took me so long to accept that was even my thing.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was more like, listen, I want peace, and conflict to me doesn't sound like immediate peace. And so I would just, without even realizing, and also just naturally, because I'm a bit of a neutral kind of, and it's a strength too.
Yeah.
Like a mediator, and I genuinely know where you're coming from, even if I disagree. I think I was just naturally non-confrontational, naturally understanding. And then I look back and I'm like, ooh, like you're having a great time in this relationship, but I'm not. Like, I'm actually starting to resent you because this time I didn't speak up. And so now I find myself actively trying to push myself to like do the hard thing. Like, I need to tell my friend that she upset me. Like, I need to send that text, or I need to say no. And it's hard. Like, stuff that other people, I don't know if you're not. I know you're not. No, I know you. Courtney can come front. I like that. Things that you might be like, yeah, mine are like, I'm just going to say how I feel. To me, it's like, oh, it's a big thing. And so just, even though I'm having this crazy battle in my head, on the outside, I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, it's not a big deal. But so I'm just practicing those things. I also, people close to me know, I'm like, listen, just a heads up, like I'm going to speak up more. So sometimes I'll say something to my sister. She's like, I know you're on this confrontation thing. Like, she'll just make light of it. Or my friend, I'll just like say stuff to her. She's like, I know you're on this journey. So sometimes it's nice to make announcements too.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And has that made you feel more free to embrace it?
Yeah, exactly. Because ideally, what would happen is I would like move across the like other side of the world and start fresh, rebrand, and there will be no one to tell me, "Oh, Adella, you've changed," because you didn't know me before.
This is how I've always been.
That is how I've always been. But obviously, that's not an option. Yeah. So I think the hardest thing in this is this idea that like I'm switching up on people, and in my head it's like, oh my gosh, Adella's gone from being so like fun and agreeable to just cutting us left, right, and centre. When it's not that deep, but that's that. I think that was the fear that I had.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love seeing your evolution. I remember at the first ever TMS show, you are our amazing host, and there was a situation that happened with one of our vendors. Literally, so that's why Adella knows I'm not a people pleaser. And like someone came and told us, oh, like the person is leaving.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? She's booked till da-da-da. And they were like, oh yeah, she says she has a function or something to go and see. I was like, oh, really? Let's go talk to her.
I witnessed the whole thing.
Literally. Yeah. And I didn't think of anything of it, because ask Renee, ask anyone. That's just me. I'm like, oh, let's talk about it. And then afterwards, you were like, wow, you really just, let's go and talk about it.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, it was like I was watching a movie, because I saw it from all angles before you got there, after you got there. And like you said, it's so normal. And to be fair, most people around me would have done what you did. Like my sister's like that, my friends are like that, my husband's like that. But just witnessing it, and I get secondhand anxiety, so I'm not even involved in the situation. I see there's not even an altercation. The words I'm using are also very exaggerated, but I see something happening, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I was like, no, Adella, this is how you're supposed to behave. Like, this is how regular.
But it's hard.
Like, confrontation happens. So.
But it is hard. I wanted to ask you, like, do you feel like it's confronted how much you care, like, about other people's opinions?
Ooh. Yes, it's made me actively try to care less. Because a big part of it is caring about other people's opinions. In fact, most of it is caring about other people's opinions. And now I'm trying to actively override that feeling and be like, not, this sounds harsh, but not like, I'll be like, oh, upset you? Sorry. Like, oh, sorry. Okay, I'm genuinely sorry, but like, what can I do? Like, at this point, what can I do? And so when I have this anxiety that pops up and I feel like I've disappointed someone, I literally, it's like I'm lying to myself. Yeah. I'm there stressing, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It's not a big deal. And I almost have to act like pretend. Like, doesn't matter, I don't care. Whatever. And it's like, deep down I care, but I'm trying to override that feeling to the point where it just becomes normal. And I think, of course, you have to strike a balance, because I think some people go from people pleasing to literally just being horrible.
Unpack it, please. Our social commentator, unpack it.
I think some people can go from like, and I don't know how they do it, because I'm like, well, you're really a people pleaser, because this looks a bit too, you look like having too much fun here.
You've just been suppressing the real you.
Been suppressing. And they're just like, no, left, right and centre. And it's like, yeah, good for you. I see you on this journey. But I try not to swing the pendulum too far. So I'm like, yes, these feelings are still there, but I have to just, do you know what it is? There's a lot of overriding my subconscious with my conscious, because my subconscious would be like non-confrontational, anxious when I've let someone down. My bar for letting someone down is so low. Someone could have just been like, oh, next time just let me know. That's what it is. Next time just let me know. And I'm like, oh my God,
I'm disappointed.
I've disappointed them. They're so annoyed. They're hiding it, but they're really angry with me. Whereas now I'm like, maybe they are, but I said sorry and I've moved on. You know what I mean? Yeah. And also, my favourite quote now that I'm trying to live by is, I'm not taking paracetamol for someone else's headache. Because not only was I getting anxious about my own situations, other people, like my friends could be arguing beside me, or people are falling out, and I'm just like, I have to fix it. And now I'm like, sorry about it.
Wish you all the best.
It's not much.
I love it. And I think you've identified something so true, which I've just been reflecting on so much recently. We live in a generation of extremes. It's like, oh, I don't want to be this anymore. So you're going to be the exact opposite. Oh, fine.
You're going to be a monster.
What I mean, and now it's just, everyone get out of my way. It's like, that's not how you balance things out. You don't just go from ice cold to boiling hot. You have to temper things. And I think we struggle sometimes as a generation to get that balance. And I think the reason why people appreciate you as a content creator in general is you actually like balance. Like, as much as you have your own opinion, you actually like.
I actually live in the grey. I really do. And it's not always good, but I'm embracing it to an extent. I think the phrase I always think of is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I feel like especially with social media, we live for throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's like, I don't know, it just seeps into everything. Cancel culture, mob mentality. It's like someone did this one thing, and so now we're like, we're going to ruin their life. And it's like, think about it. Does this punishment fit this crime? Like, most of the time it doesn't. And I think with most things, nobody operates in black and white in real life. Like, a lot of us do operate in the grey, and there's just nuance to everything. And I think, I don't know why. I do think social media is somewhat to blame, because there's no room for dialogue a lot of the time on social media. And I think a lot of nuance comes from dialogue. Like, we're having a conversation. I could disagree with something you say, but then I'm like, oh, is it? Why? And then you explain, and then I'm like, okay. And now we've got the whole picture. And unfortunately, sometimes social media is like a monologue, obviously, because you can't always talk back. And so people operate in black and white. And I just think it's not realistic. That's not how we live in real life.
Not how we live.
And in every movement, wave, like wherever we are politically, whatever, you always notice that like we've just swung the pendulum all the way. If we just stuck somewhere in the middle, I think most people would be happy. But it's like it always goes to extremes. And I always say this about like the whole gender wars and stuff. You can literally map it. It was like men oppressed us, we couldn't even vote, things like that. Women regained their power. We could have stayed here, and then it was like, men are trash, we hate all of you. And the men at first were like, you know what, fair, we've done some stuff. And then we kept going. They were like, hold on a minute, too far, hold on a minute, I don't like this anymore. Andrew Tate comes up, Kevin Samuel. Do you know what I mean? It's like
swing it back,
just swing it back, and we just keep going back and forth, and everyone's operating in extremes, and it's just
a great philosopher of our time. That was actually so true. And so it's fun, and I think it's made our generation like bad at conversation, but also bad at relationships because of that. It's like, I can't sit with you and we go back and forth, because it's like, I'm so bought into my opinion, or you're so bought into your opinion, or we just don't like the idea of disagreeing.
We don't. And we also don't like, I think we attach morality to opinions a bit too much. So it's like, oh, you said this keyword, you're not, like, you're evil
person,
you're all these things. And it's like, no, like, you just have this opinion, and there's a reason why you have this opinion, but we can still coexist, we can still be friends. Like, I don't know, this idea of only being friends with people you agree with, and not even only being friends, only attaching good morality to people you agree with, that's wild to me. Because there's obviously a reason why, do you know what I mean? Like, even if the world is split in half and half of them believe this and half of them believe that, this group automatically think this group is evil. This group think you're evil. So who's evil? And it's like, no one, or all of us, but not to get deep. And it's like, no, we just have a difference in opinion, but why does it have to equal? I mean, some opinions are evil.
Yeah, and one rooted in evil.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, I just think, we'll just get along.
And I guess that's the mediator part of it, which I think is, again, a very valuable thing to have, actually, because a lot of people don't seek to have reconciliation or just a level of understanding, which is, I may not agree with you.
Yeah.
But next conversation, we go again.
And I'm not talking about big, because do you know what it is? I think people have conflated like big fat red flags with like small differences in opinion. It's like, oh my gosh, let's categorize things correctly here. Like, we can still get along.
Yeah. And it's, again, generation of extremes. I don't like it.
I don't like it at all.
I don't like it. And like,
it scares me as well.
I was literally about to say,
I'm like, when is it going to be?
We're like content creators. We see a lot of things popping up, and we get to see the really like left, the right, the so many different, not just political spectrum, but like just generally polar opposites. And it all has traction. It all has its own communities, but it's all very scary because it's echo chambers.
Yes.
Everyone's confirming what they think, and then everyone's confirming what you think, and then there's this whole grey area. Like, I was talking to someone and they were like, I go on my home feed and my whole home feed is just anime. And I'm like, rah, we actually are all in our own corners of the internet. And if we don't get used to having real life conversations in particular, we're actually going to be a generation of extremists.
Yes. I always think about Brexit when I think about echo chambers. I woke up shocked. I said, but everyone on Twitter was saying...
We're all voting.
We're all voting. Right. And I woke up and said, oh, okay. That was a big lesson for me because that was an echo chamber. And I thought everyone was in agreement. Obviously, you live in London, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, absolutely not. And I think it is scary because I can't stand. I get it. I get why it happens. But when I hear one phrase repeated over and over, and when it comes to like a specific topic, I'm like, oh, you're not thinking. You're actually not thinking. And I think I read something recently about... I think I talked about it in the video or something, and it was this idea of social media as it is today. There's a lot of consuming. We're just made to consume. We're not made to think.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, when you read a book or you go to a speech or whatever, your brain is working in such a way that you're like dissecting, you're thinking, you're like, what do I think about this? Especially in conversations, whereas social media is just consumption. So it's like, we're just regurgitating stuff. We're not fact checking stuff either. We're just like, oh, this sounds right. And the thing is, I get it because I'm a sucker for a good argument. Like, if you're here and you're like making a good point, I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then you say the opposite, but you say it really well. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right too. So I think that's what happens online. It's like, the person who sounds the smartest gets your vote or whatever, and then we just don't. And there's just so much information that we can't be dissecting and fact checking all of it. So I don't know. I think we just have to. I don't know what we have to do.
It's fine. Actually, that's not your job.
No, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Here's the problem. I don't know what the solution is.
Everyone else go fix it, but it gives you content.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of wanted to like end things at.
Mm-hmm.
If there was what's the question I'm trying to ask? Is there a video you're like dying to make or a topic you're dying to talk about?
Ooh. There is. And I'm actually I filmed it actually in December.
Ooh.
And I was because I don't know. So I won't keep the edge stick because it's like one of my ones. But it's should I say it now? No, yeah. Exclusive. Wow. It's not even exclusive. It's basically this concept of I found a name for it based on an article that someone else wrote, and it's called Getting Womaned. And it's you could almost call it maybe like the life cycle of a it girl or something like that. And there's this thing that I see and I really hate it and it really bothers me. And it's this idea that a woman is like up and coming, we love her, we praise her, we idolize her, key point. And then she reaches a threshold. She reaches a threshold. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is, but we just turn on her. I've seen it with so many women, and we just turn on her. And I was basically dissecting why do we do that. Obviously it's the patriarchy, but yeah, and I see it with a lot. I see it with a lot of influencers and social, because obviously that's the space that I'm in. Can I name? Yeah. I see it with like Patricia Bright, Jackie Aina, Grace Beverly, Emma Chamberlain, people like that who we loved, we adored, we idolized. That's the problem though. We idolize them because we can't just let women just do their job and appreciate them for their craft. We have to put them on this pedestal, which they didn't ask to be on. So we get them to this point where now it's like, of course they're unrelatable. Like we've made them rich and all these kind of things, as they should be. Why not?
Yeah.
But then one day, someone will tweet, I just think there's something up about Jackie Aina. I don't really like her anymore. And then everyone's like, yeah, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to be a hater, but I feel the same way. And then I've never liked her. And then all of a sudden, like, she's not cancelled, but like every so often this like wave of hate just seeps in. And it's like, I think it's related to the fact that I just think we don't want women to, like, women at a certain level, men at a certain level, feel free. Like, you can be the president, whatever. And we still adore you. I mean, some men get it, but we still adore them and whatever. But with women, it's like this need to just knock them down. And fair, maybe some of these women have done things genuinely that annoyed you, but calm down. Like, what did she actually do? Please. You remember when Patricia Bright spent £1,000 on her braids?
The uproar was so unnecessary. And the thing is, it's not for you.
I get it. I was like,
me too.
I spent £1,000.
Wow.
But that's it. That's where I maybe spoke to my sister about it. Like, right, do you see she's spent? That's where it ended. But it turns into, but he's always been, and it's like, you were just waiting for an opportunity. I see it with a lot of, it happens in small waves. Like, something happens and it's like an opportunity for you to now jump on that woman and be like, I always knew, I always thought. I just don't like it. It really irks, and it really hurts.
I can't wait to watch that video because it's so true. Like, instead of something to become a conversation point, it becomes an attack on someone's character. Especially when these people they were a part of the culture that we've been riding with them, and it's sad to see it with women in particular. Like,
we don't like it when women become unrelatable. This needs to end.
The way you look at the camera, please, public service announcement.
Get over it. Like, okay, so why this obsession with relatability? First of all, I get it. I think psychologically, like, you engage with people who are like, you see something in the blah blah blah. But it's like, they didn't have money before. Now they have money. What do you want? What do you want from them? Like, okay, I just.
And if it were you, would you be the same?
As in, no.
If you were now a millionaire?
No, I wouldn't. I would said that in the video. I said, don't get it twisted.
There would be signs.
Don't get it twisted. Like, you might think I'm like you, and maybe character-wise I am, but when I'm rich, I will be rich.
A new evolution of who I am.
My richness,
I'm stepping out.
Okay, my wigs will look different. My car will look different. And if that makes me unrelatable, then I don't know what, like, my character's the same.
Yeah.
So
your skill is the same.
Yeah, I don't know what you want.
Boy, well, go and watch the video on Adella.
Yeah. It might actually be, I don't know when this is coming out, but the video might actually be out by the time.
You know what? We'll drop it when the Girls drops.
Oh,
why not?
Pressure. No, it's good. Maybe next week it'll be out.
Okay, I don't know about that. But go and check out Adella's channel in general. You are one of the best content creators out there. 100%. I won't forget watching that now deleted video of Kevin Samuels. And the way Keith edited that video, I said, experts say it was a wonderful.
I was like, again.
It was giving panorama.
When we said it live, I was like,
and the people hated it.
They did, but anyways.
No, go on.
I took it down because as expected, I was gonna call them Dusty, but I've said it now. The men came for me.
Yeah.
Understandably, I didn't care. I was like, I don't care. But what happened is it changed my algorithm a bit. Like, so my percentage of audience shifted. I didn't want it to shift. And then it was messing up my future uploads because they weren't there for them. And I listed it. And then sometime later, he obviously passed.
Rest in peace.
I was like, probably best that is.
It's down.
Probably best, yeah.
I hear it. Nah, but it was a good video if you watched it. But it went to show, like, you were very journalistic in nature, as well as, like, just a good thinker and commentator. And that's why people love watching your videos. That's why I am a fan.
Thank you. And also, you and Renee, oh my gosh. Because I feel like everything you say, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. This is also in my brain. But you both have you're just so smart.
Oh.
And recently I've realized I'm very drawn to, like, I think old me, you know, fear man me was maybe a bit intimidated by like really impressive, smart, bright people. But actually I love them. That's what I've realized. A lot of the people, yeah, thanks. A lot of the people around me are like that. But you and Renee are just so, I mean, the accolades are accolade, isn't it? But you're so smart. And I think I just love people who can take what's in my head and just articulate it so beautifully. I'm like, yes, sometimes I wish I could play dress.
Take it. It's
like, I'm going to write the script, but it's going to be a transcript of your video.
Not me commenting. This sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
But somehow you said it better. Love it. No, honestly, like, go you. I really am an Adella Afadi fan. I've been watching you. I told you since that Vixen Sewing tutorial.
Oh my gosh. I don't talk about that.
It's still there, but we don't talk about it. Go on, run up the numbers. But honestly, I love you. I love you as a person as well, right? And I love what you do. You talk about things so unapologetically, so wisely, but also you are so witty. So I know people are going to enjoy your content. The thing is, though, we're actually talking to the same people.
Yeah.
So
it's so true. It's so true.
So any new people, please go and subscribe to my sister's channel. And yeah, we are ending all guest episodes with one thing. We want you to leave your little impact on the sisters.
Okay.
So we want you to say one thing to the sisters and start it with, to my sisters.
Oh gosh. Can let me know beforehand though?
No, that's the point.
Is that the point? Okay. Okay, what's in my heart right now? You might have to cut the pause because I'm thinking. Okay. Do you know what? I don't know if I have to say this to your specific audience, so I'm going to say it anyway because I feel like you have this down. But to my sisters, do life in community. That would be my thing. And like I said, you foster such good community.
Philosophical message.
You foster such good community. So I almost feel like I'm preaching to the choir.
No, we need a reminder.
In a time of, individualism, social media makes us maybe talk to people in real life less. Foster community with family, with friends, find your people, or however you can find them. And just be active. Just be bold and active about finding your community, because honestly, it makes life so much better. I feel like I have a really good life, and it's 99% down to the fact that I have a really good community.
Yeah.
They're just great in good times and bad times, and especially in bad times. So
especially in bad times. I love that. Thank you for reinforcing the ethos of the sisterhood. And you are a true believer and also like practicer of that, because the way you're always with your family, the way you are with your friends, in conversations we've had like offline conversations, you talk about like letting people into your marriage and that accountability, your group of friends. It's just like, wow, this is somebody who actually practices that life is better done in community. And it's evident that you're such a balanced person. Like you just, no realm of madness. Because of it.
If you spoke to my husband, he'd say that I didn't remember.
Yeah, but that's his burden.
Exactly. The rest you go now, you're stuck.
The rest of us get the best. Shout out to you, Keith. But no, something is clearly working. And honestly, my prayer for you, the sisterhood's prayer for you, Renee's prayer for you, is that you'll actually continue to thrive. I feel like you've really been stepping into your own in the last couple of years, and like just putting your voice out there and being unashamed and unafraid and just unapologetically you. And it's so beautiful to see that evolution. So I really pray that you thrive in it, that you continue to evolve. And like, girl, you are the epitome of glowing and growing. Like, I need to see that pink hat again. The personal style has been killing it. Like, you're looking cute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Oh, this was amazing. Honestly, you're like, you're so good to talk to. You have an art. You have like some people just have a way of just making every conversation we have is rich. Even when we're just like in a venue, just quick conversation. I'm just like, oh, I love it so much. This is what you're doing here. You're definitely made for it.
Dear editor, please keep this in the video. Thank you very much.
Give it Oprah.
It's giving Oprah. Well, I receive it. Let's pray the money also comes. Anyways. No, seriously.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely.
I too need to.
And then you'll be unrelatable
and prosper
like we want.
I will not be a woman. It's actually so. Hey, gosh. Anyways, sisters, thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Go and show Adella some love. But of course, come and plug into the Sisterhood. You already know where to find us at To My Sisterhood. You can sign up to the mailing list on tomysisters.com. Share this episode with someone because Adella is a gift that needs to be shared. All right. So we'll talk to you very, very soon. Renee misses you. I miss you. I miss her. As you can tell, she actually surprised me during this episode, and I wasn't. Anyways, sisters, we'll talk to you very, very soon. Maybe with a guest, maybe just me and Renee, maybe just me by myself. But whatever you get, you'll manage. You'll manage. You love it. You love it. But as always, keep glowing and growing.